All right, welcome to week 2 of the Level Up Challenge. It's kind of like our pre-conditioning weeks. The contest will launch officially on March 1st and run through July 31st when it comes to our tracking in terms of sales numbers and points, so on and so forth, towards our awards and our incentives that we talked about last week. But it's so important to make sure that we are ahead of the game when it comes to our basic foundational training, and that's what we're going to go over tonight. So the Level Up Challenge is just getting started, but certainly the most important thing that you can do is really focus on WebCenter training. So really, what is it that we offer? We offer a proven, duplicatable system to provide small business owners an effective internet presence. In fact, I like to say that we have an all-inclusive digital marketing solution. So together, we help businesses and organizations with increasing their revenues, decreasing expenses, increasing customer satisfaction, streamlining some business practices, increasing engagement, client and customer engagement, and marketing their business. So when it comes to our system, what are we selling? Are we selling our incredible technology in the platform? Are we selling the features? Are we selling the benefits? Or are we simply selling the appointment? And if we really focus on how to be successful with the WebCenter division, we sell the appointment, right? We want to make sure that we are engaging in great conversations with business owners and decision makers, and then scheduling appointments with product specialists and have them explain and demonstrate our features and benefits of our platform. So our proven business system is built on selling appointments or setting appointments and leveraging our teams of professionals to do the heavy lifting, right? Think of it as the referral approach. It's simple and it's very, very effective because we've been doing this for over 18 years, and we know that for every 3 to 4 appointments that you set as a demo appointment with our product specialist, that will result in a sale. So your focus has to be on building relationships and building an alliance and really leveraging those teams of professionals. In fact, that's one of the biggest things that you get with your WebCenter product that you purchase or that you own. You own an entire digital marketing agency that's working on your behalf. So as a reminder, we have things more than product specialists. We also have our design and digital marketing teams, and we also have customer care, so that you can rest assured that you don't need to know everything about everything, and you don't need to know everything about anything. What you need to know is how to point people in the direction of the resource, whether it's a tool that we have available through mawc411.com, or potentially a blog on our blog channels or social media sites or YouTube channels, or about leveraging our 1-800 tech support, right? Our 24/7 tech support and customer care. These are important resources for your success. So in the WebCenter division, our web solutions system of success really revolves around the 5 C's. So as an unfranchised owner, you know the basic 5, and this is very similar to our basic 5. And I'll tell you that if you apply these 5 C's to other areas of your unfranchised business, you can't help but succeed. So the most successful WebCenter owners follow these 5 steps for quality appointments and to really improve or increase their own sales. So we want to focus on what successful people do. You know, years ago, we tried to figure out why there were some people that were incredibly successful with our web solutions division, and some that were not struggling, but they were just having a harder time. And what we realized is that the most successful WebCenter owners were doing these things without really having them as a system. So we analyzed it. We realized that they were doing these things. So tonight we're going to focus on these 5 C's. And in each week, when we talk about certain industries and categories, we're going to revisit these 5 C's because it really comes down to how you can be a successful WebCenter owner. So we're going to talk about identifying leads, our candidates. That's the first C. The second is going to be candidate research, right? What is their current situation? We'll talk about how to contact candidates, and certainly that's the third C with contacting them or approaching. We also have our fourth C, which is conducting a 15-minute consultation. And the last C is the close. And really the close is just selling them on an appointment, right? The product specialist closes your clients. So we're going to go through each of these a little bit more in depth, but the most important thing that you can do is look in your GMTSS and schedule yourself into an upcoming WCT 101, right? A Web Center Training 101 class where you'll have a certified Web Center trainer go over these 5Cs in more depth. So again, before you can contact anyone, you have to generate leads, right? But we have to realize that possibilities are everywhere. And this is not about cold calling. It's not about soliciting. It's not about pulling up to a plaza and knocking on every door. This is not a cold calling or selling type of opportunity. We really want to focus on our warm markets. Certainly, it's more fun, it's easier, it's faster, it's more duplicatable, and I guarantee you will be much more successful because it all relates to building relationships. So what we want to start with is our who do you know list, right? Just like the unfranchised business or in any category or division in our company, it really comes down to who do you know. So we're going to focus on one industry at a time and go column by column, but this is your first opportunity to revisit your who do you know list or your candidate list is what we call it. So in the 12-week action plan, you will see that we have this as well. But certainly if you have a piece of paper, we'll just do a quick brainstorming session right now. So we have certain categories of our contacts and different levels of the relationship. Certainly we have people that we know that own a business. We have people that we know that are employed at a business. We have businesses that we do business with where patrons or clients or customers of theirs. Or there's certain people in our community that are well connected that could be the link to some of these types of business owners. And of course, building our candidate list. So we're going to go category by category, and we're going to start with a very powerful category. One of our top categories is restaurants. So I want you to right now think of who do you know that owns a restaurant. And as I talk about this, I want you to also think about who do you know that works at a restaurant, where you go for your your dining preferences, and of course, who do you know that's well connected with potential restaurant owners. So I'm going to give you some ideas. Your job is to just kind of free form write out some answers, and I'm going to kind of jog your memory. So we talk about restaurants. I want you to think about where do you go for Italian food? Where do you go when you're looking for a deli or a sub shop? Where do you go that's your favorite pizza shop? What about Greek food? What about your sushi, Japanese hibachi grill? What about a coffee shop, Chinese restaurant? What about not only a coffee shop, but maybe a caterer, right? Where do you have any catering done? What about the restaurant that's in maybe your office building or in your local area where you go to work? What about your local franchise restaurant, right? Maybe an Applebee's, maybe a Panera Bread, maybe a Starbucks, right? And the reason we're doing this is because you know people that work at these restaurants or these locations that might lead you to other people, and they know other people. For example, they know their vendors also target other restaurants. So it's important to keep an open mind here. Let's talk about, I think I already said sub shops. We already talked about Greek, Italian, Chinese. How about Mediterranean food? What about fine dining? What about takeout? What about Mexican food? What about Latin American food? What about your place that you love to get your favorite tacos and burritos? What about your favorite place to get appetizers? Where do you go for happy hour? Where do you go when you take a group of colleagues out to lunch? Right? Who do you know that's a waiter, a waitress, a host or hostess? Who's a bartender? Who maybe is a manager at a restaurant? Who do you know that might be a dishwasher or a bar back? Who do you know that might just be starting to work at a restaurant and maybe even they're in high school or college and they're just starting to get their foot into that type of employment? Who do you know that's in hospitality management that might work at a hotel that might know the maitre d' at a restaurant? Again, where do you go for your food? But who do you know that's well connected? Let's talk about some people that might be well connected. People that work for, U.S. Foods or Cisco Foods, a food company, maybe a restaurant equipment service company. Who do you know that might work for a linens company? Who do you know that might work in marketing towards restaurants? Maybe point of sale systems for restaurants. Okay, so you can see that I've just listed one category, restaurants, and hopefully you've jotted down a couple different businesses or certain people that you might know that either work at a restaurant, own that restaurant, or where you simply go for your own dining. And we can do this for every category. Tonight, we're just going to go through these top categories. I want you to think about contractors. So again, we're going to keep that list going. Contractors, who do you know that's an HVAC, a home builder, a carpenter, plumber, mechanical equipment engineer, maybe someone who would fix your hot water heater, someone that does testing for radon, right? Home inspection. Who do you know that does landscaping, snow removal, landscape construction, maybe design services, interior decorators? What about excavation companies? Um, you could even think about drywall, painting contractors, roofing and siding companies. And again, people that work for these companies, that own these companies, companies that you know in town, you might know them, but you know that you're in the same community. That's important. Write them down because you are going to find a way to contact them or to build a relationship with them. Certainly, who do you call when you've got a problem with your electrical work, right? Who do you know that's an electrician? If you needed to put a new electrical panel in, who would you call? And certainly, if you're calling a friend or family member, who do they know that might be tied in with that world? Maybe you're going to need a home inspection or, again, a building inspector in town. They're well connected with contractors. Um, uh, Also, trucking equipment companies, right? Big truck companies. They're always driving around town with the big excavators and things like that for land development. Who do you know that's in real estate that might be well connected with contractors as well? Maybe property management companies. So a lot of these have crossover. And again, there's really no format, as you can see. I'm just going off the top of my head to help jog your mind all over the place. Let's talk about some professional services like lawyers and attorneys. Who do you know that might be writing up wills and trusts? Who do you know that's a defense attorney? Who do you know that's a criminal defense attorney? Who do you know that's maybe in real estate? Who do you know that is drafting documents for bankruptcy, filing maybe family law, legal for divorce attorneys? Okay, people that specialize in slip and fall accidents, dog bite accidents, even DUIs or DWI, whatever it is in your area. And alongside that, let's talk about other professional services like accountants, tax keepers, bookkeepers, and other banking, mortgage professionals. Okay, financial advisors. Let's go down to the next one. Gyms. Who do you know that's a personal trainer? Who do you know that works at a gym and memberships? A fitness director, maybe a fitness instructor, a Zumba instructor, someone that does body pump. Maybe your friend that's a fitness enthusiast. What about yoga studios, Pilates studios, CrossFit gyms, gymnastics facilities, dance schools? There's so many, right? How about your local YMCA types of programs, as well as your gyms? And again, even your franchise, your independent franchise locations of your gyms, like a Planet Fitness, a Zoo Fitness, a Fit Body Boot Camp, a Fit Lab. There's so many, right? How about salons? Who do you know in the salon? Where do you get your haircut? Where do you get your hair colored? Where do you take your kids for their haircuts? Barbershops, hairstylists, nail techs, estheticians, spas, makeup artists, beauty salons, hairstylists, people that are just working for maybe a franchise like a Supercuts, a Sam's Cuts, a Great Clips. Okay, anything in the hair and beauty, and even health and beauty. We talked about that. What about car repairs and car detailers, right? Collision repair. Where do you go to get your brakes done, your oil changes, your state inspections? Where do you go to buy a new vehicle? What are some of the local places that you can buy an automobile? That might not be a huge franchise location, but where are the franchise locations? Your Ford dealership, your Toyota dealership, your Kia dealership, your Hyundai dealership, right? Where are they? Because they're also doing things like Google advertising, and they're paying companies a lot of money for it, and they could be paying money to you and have MA Web Centers. So don't discount the large companies. They're buying these services from somewhere. What about health professionals, dentists, oral surgeons, optometrists, ophthalmologists, general practice, family doctors, pediatricians, nurse practitioners, naturopaths, right? So again, who do you know that might be a nurse at one of these facilities? Who do you know that might be an office manager? Who do you know that is the health professional, a massage therapist, a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, someone in the other allied health professionals, a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, maybe a rehab or stroke rehab, cardiology, cardio rehab, your local hospitals. Again, they're buying advertising from someone, and the idea is that we're just looking to build up this list. Who do you know that is an ER nurse? Who do you know that delivers babies at the local hospital? Who do you know that's a doula? Who do you know that's a midwife? Again, we don't know who these people are, but if we can just identify the candidate list, we're going to do ourselves a lot of good. Who do you know that owns a retail shop or a boutique in town? What about organizations, municipal offices, churches, nonprofits, booster clubs, the local sports organization, the youth associations? So hopefully that was a good start to your list. And every single week, we're going to have you adding to that list. So now that we've got a general list, it's about identifying what their current positioning is, right? And a great way to do that is to just Google them, right? Google them and find out a little more about where they're showing up. And it motivates you to contact them and prepares you with some great questions. So what should you look for when you're doing some candidate research, right? We're not saying that you should do an hour's worth of research on every candidate. We're saying just do a minute or two quick high-level research just to kind of find out where their starting point is to start the conversation. Now, if you can engage in a conversation or they agree to maybe a 10 or 15-minute phone call or a consultation, then that gives you permission to invest a little bit more time in doing some research. So first one, do they show up on Google, right? Where do they show up? Is there competition showing up on Google? Do they have a current or up-to-date website, right? If they show up on Google and you click the link, what does their website look like? Is it responsive? And by responsive, we'll talk about that next, but is it friendly on a mobile device? Are they using social media? Do they show up on Facebook? Is a Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram type of icon showing up on the header or footer of their website? Again, it just gives you a basic overview of their current positioning. So the example is Google your favorite restaurant and where do they show up? Now, not only Google their name, right? Joe's Italian Pizzeria in Acton, Massachusetts, or whatever it is, but you also might just do the category and say Italian restaurants in Acton, Massachusetts, and see if they show up. Because certainly if you type in a business name, they should show up. If not, that's a major problem and they need to be called immediately. Because they need help. You Google their name of their business and they don't show up, that's a problem. However, a lot of people will show up when you just type in their name on Google, and they might show up with a Yelp listing or an Angie's List or their Facebook page or maybe their website, might show up in the maps or locations. But if you type in their category, plumbing contracting, painting contractor in this geography, this area, if they don't show up, they might have a website, but they're not showing up for a reason and they need some assistance. So those are some quick tips. So what you're looking for in terms of websites that work, is there a clear sense of branding and who they are? Is there accurate, up-to-date content? If they have a what's new page and the last thing that was written was 2015, well, that it goes to show you that it's not updated that frequently. And what about the user experience? Visitors should be able to easily navigate, right? Click on the menus, and is it easy to navigate the website? And most importantly, is it mobile friendly? Pull it up on your mobile device, pull up their website and see how easy it to use and view on a mobile device. That's very important. And who is the content written for? Is it written only for new audiences and new prospects or target customers? Or is it also for existing customers and clients? Is there a way to engage with them as well? So, did you know when people Google a term on a mobile device, it's called the Google Mobile Only First algorithm. Google only recommends websites that are mobile friendly and or responsive. And why is that? It's because 40% of people abandon a website if it takes too long to load, certainly on a mobile device. 67% are more likely to purchase from a mobile-friendly site, and 74% are more likely to visit and revisit a mobile optimized site. And why is that? Because more than 70% of internet related traffic comes from a mobile device right now, and that's important. So now it comes down to contacting the business. Now that you've got a little bit of information in your back pocket, it's a great way to start the conversation, and it's time to contact your candidates. So what does that look like, right? Again, these are warm contacts. You have some type of relationship or some type of common ground. You might live in the same town. You might be at the same sporting a venue. It might be your neighbor. It might be a friend. It might be the place that you buy coffee every day. Right? So it all starts with conversational marketing. And remember, the person asking questions is the ones who's actually controlling the topic of conversation. So if I'm asking questions about their business and their website, guess what we're talking about, right? We're talking about their business and their website. And what's people's favorite topic? It's themselves. So they're going to love to get in conversations with you if you keep them as the center of attention in the conversation. So it always starts out social. How are things going? Geez, can't believe this weather. How's little Johnny doing in soccer? Just starting the conversation, and a simple transitional statement is as simple as how's work or how's business going, right? And that's a great way to get the conversation started on business. How's work? How's business going? And they're going to start talking. Great, fantastic. What's going well? What do you think about, the next season or the next month, or seasons are changing? How is that going to impact your business? Or are you busy, or is it slow? You're having a conversation that's normal, everyday conversation, but now you're asking them about work and their business. And you can then transition very easily with a statement such as, is your website helping with that? Or is social media helping with that? Right? Are you doing marketing? Busy season. That's great. Are you guys currently doing a lot of marketing to bring in some traffic? Right? So again, you're just engaging them in conversation. Now, it's very important that you need to have in your back pocket also a power statement, an answer to what do you do. And we talk about this in an unfranchised business, but the same thing here in the website division is you want to focus on your what do you do. So if that ever comes up in the conversation, you can say, I work with a great company and they help businesses save money on business expenses while also increasing their revenue. Or I work with a great company that helps businesses market themselves online, right? That would be the referral. I work with a great company. And that's great if you major in something else as well, such as motives or TLS or the shopping annuity. But also if you're a WebCenter Pro and you're really majoring in this division, you can really focus on more ownership and saying, I'm a marketing consultant. I'm a business consultant. I help businesses save money and increase revenue or decrease expenses. Whatever your power statement is, it's got to be something that's comfortable and can roll off your tongue. In fact, I recommend that you role play and say this out loud, record yourself saying it, call your senior partners and say, hey, I need to share with you my what do I do statement, because it's got to be something that can come off of your tongue very smoothly. And you can write the best answer, but if you don't practice it, it might not be that easy to say, and you might stumble and fumble a little bit. So you want to make sure that you practice it, right? So you're in these conversations. When is it time to, what we say, pop the question, right? There might be a good fit. When do you book a 15-minute consultation, right? You've asked 3 to 5 questions and you have a pretty good idea of what's wrong or what's happening because you've done some research, right? And they're engaged in the conversation. It's simply time to offer them a solution. And the solution is not a website. The solution is not Google advertising. The solution is not social media marketing. The solution is to find a time to learn more about their business so that you can schedule a time with a product specialist or a search engine specialist or website specialist that can help your friend or a colleague in this instance. Okay, so you're going to find, if you ask people, is your website helping with that, or how's your website? You're going to find that they fall into a couple different categories. First is they don't have a website, and that's great because now you can help them, right? Or you're going to find out that their website's doing terrible. Yeah, we have a website, but it needs to be redone. Or we have a website, but it's awful. And a business owner may not share that information and be that vulnerable, but certainly the employees will. So you might talk to an office manager, and they might say, geez, yeah, we have a website, but it's not doing so great. Or it might be someone that's on the wait staff at a restaurant, and they're willing to share some of this information with you, but the business owner may not be, right? So it can go a lot of different ways depending on who you're talking to. And, they could say, I'm working on it. Great. How long have you been working on it? And chances are, if they've been working on it for a long time, someone's dragging their feet. And they certainly would like to be online sooner rather than later. So you can identify who they're working with and how that process is going. And you might find someone that says, our website's doing great, fantastic. And you can ask a few more questions. Worst case, you can follow up with them and see how things are going. But if their website's doing great, there's a great follow-up question we'll talk about. So website's doing great. Great. What do you like about it? Oh, I love the fact that my picture's on the homepage, or I love the fact that there's a gallery of our before and after photos, or I love the fact that you can book appointments, right? Whatever they like about it, have them share that. And then the next line is critical. Great. Well, is there anything you wish your website would do that it isn't? And almost 100% of the time, there's something that the business would like their website to do that it's not currently doing. It might be, I wish it would show up on search engines, or I wish it would tie into my social media, or I have no idea. I like the website, but I have no idea if it's actually benefiting my business. I don't know if people are coming to my business because of my website. Or, I love my website, but the one thing I wish I could do would be to schedule appointments on my website. Or I wish I could have a PayPal link or an e-commerce to sell gift cards or to pay for services on my website. They'll tell you what they wish their website would do. Another great question is, great, fantastic that your website's doing well. How are you promoting it? What's working for you? Oh, well, we're doing Google, or we're doing Facebook, or whatever it is. Are you doing any social media? How's advertising going with Google, right? So these are questions that you can learn from our 15-minute consultation sheets. Now, of course, they could say our website's terrible. Great. What's wrong with it? What's it not doing that you wish? You're just trying to ask questions to get them talking about their business and marketing. If they don't have a website, great, keep asking questions. Have you had one in the past, or have you ever thought about having one? What kept you from getting one? Maybe it was time, maybe they didn't see the return, maybe it was expensive, maybe they didn't see the point of it, or they just thought it was way too expensive to maintain or to get any results, right? Simply ask how they're promoting their business without a website. A lot of people are now, oh, well, I've got a Facebook page. Well, that's great for people that know you, but what about all the people in the community that don't know you or don't, quote unquote, like you on Facebook? How are you reaching them? Or what happens if a new person moves into town and they search for your business? How are they going to find you, right? And of course, I'm working on it. Great. Who's doing your site? How long have you been working on it? Did you consider any options, right? How are you currently marketing your business while you're waiting? Are you nearing the finish line? Are you at the point where you really want to get something up sooner rather than later? Is it okay if I follow up with you in another month or two? Right? So those are just ways to, again, keep the relationship going. Now, you're also going to have to decide how you're going to contact them, right? Is this going to be face-to-face? Is this going to be in person? Maybe it's the coffee shop that you got coffee from. Is it something you're going to do face-to-face? I've been coming here every day for the past month, and I don't even know your name. What's your name? My name is Jason. Great. What's your name? Your name is Ed. Ed, nice to meet you. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. You come in the next day, get your coffee. Ed, how you doing? So nice to see you again today, right? And you're building that rapport, building that relationship. Or you could simply already have these contacts. Maybe they're people that you would call, or maybe that you would text or email or a private message on social media. However you normally communicate with them is how you're going to contact them. Whatever is going to be the most normal form of communication. And again, you're just trying to start a conversation to see if there's a need. Once you've developed that rapport and you've identified there's a need, they agree that they're, need some assistance in their marketing, it's time to book that 10 to 15 minute consultation. And again, it could be for website design and management, it could be on digital and social media marketing, or you could just start with maybe business spending and talk to them about yourshop.com. So the idea is that you're going to download these or purchase them from Unfranchise, and they're going to lead to higher quality appointments. So you could actually schedule a product demo and then use this as your confirmation call. Hey, we can't wait to get you on our website demo on Friday. Before we do that, they had a couple of questions they wanted me to have answered before we have a great demonstration. When would you have 10 or 15 minutes? And then ask these questions. And it could be a phone call. Or it could be an appointment on the phone or over a cup of coffee or just a live meeting one-on-one or with some of their other people in their office. And it could be an appointment where you're actually sitting down, you're asking them these questions, and the close will be to schedule that demo with the product specialist. So again, these consultation forms are great for new web center owners to identify what type of questions can you ask. And once you get comfortable with these questions, you can start asking them in the conversations so that you may or may not even need one of these forms because you already asked all the questions, you uncovered all the information. So tips for conducting a great consultation appointment is to write down all of your responses. Do not discuss solutions. Don't get into sales mode, presentation mode. That's not your job. Your job is to gather information and listen a lot. Let them talk more and more about their business and use it as an opportunity to identify other decision makers, other people that they would respect or that would influence the decision. Maybe a marketing manager, maybe a decision maker, maybe it's a spouse. Maybe it's, a son, daughter, or another colleague that they would respect their opinion because maybe they feel that they might have a better background in, say, online marketing. The idea is to get as many players involved in the decision engaged in the conversation and get them excited to discover some possible solutions. And a great lead-in line is, based on all the questions I've asked and all the information that you've shared, what I think would be a great next step is to get you on the phone with a specialist, someone who specializes in search engine optimization or a specialist in website design that could further answer some questions, but also give you some tips, tricks, and some ideas, and maybe propose some solutions. How soon could we schedule that appointment? Right? So again, you don't have to answer questions about price, about the product. You're simply going to refer them to your team of specialists. And that's really the close, right? You close that appointment by scheduling an appointment with the product specialist. So you edify the product specialist. That's a great question. You would have to really ask one of our specialists about that. What's the price? That's a great question, but not knowing fully what you would need or what we could propose, that would be a great question for a specialist. You can always revert back to the specialist. I would love to see samples of your work. We'd love to do that. We can do one better. We can customize a demonstration of our platform for you, and the specialist can review that tailored directly to your needs, because we can design a site to be anything that your heart's desire would be. So I could show you a whole portfolio of what was good for other customers and what they preferred, but what would be even better is if that you could talk to a product specialist about that, right? That's how we can ensure a higher quality appointment. It's simply a strong referral into that appointment, right? And it's all about you work with a great company and you're going to edify that product specialist. Now, what you say is going to depend what you learned, right? If they said that they love their website, but they're struggling to rank on Google, you're going to focus on the idea that we're going to get them on the phone with a search engine specialist that can help them rank on Google where their competition is showing up and they're not, right? So you're simply going to really clarify what they're looking for and then say that as part of your close into working with the product specialist. So, certainly like anything, it's a successful meeting if a follow-up is booked, right? A hard date, follow-up, and time in your calendar and theirs, even if that means it's a week out, 2 weeks out, whatever it is, something written in ink in an appointment book is going to make sure that you've got a better shot of closing or building that relationship and closing to a demo appointment. So have your schedule available, and you might even want to take a peek at the sales calendar, and you can do that right on your mobile device when you log onto your web center and find out what the availability is for sales appointments. And right now we've got so many incredible product specialists that, if you look out a couple days, you'll probably find a lot of variety, morning appointments, afternoon appointments, or evening appointments that you could kind of work within your client's schedule as well. So schedule an appointment with the product specialist, and you do that through the sales appointment wizard or sales appointment calendar on your web center. And the most important thing that we can do is be different. Be different than the other people that are, trying to sell them advertising or sell them office supplies or sell them cleaning services or whatever it is. They're getting bombarded by salespeople all the time. So what you can do to be different is send a heartfelt communication. You can provide them referrals, tag them and post them on your social media channels, and they will then begin to like you more. They'll get to know you more. They'll get to trust you more. And it's just really building a strong relationship. And that's going to really help you as a web center owner, because you might start some relationships now, but you might find that timing's off. And maybe it's another year or 2 years down the road, but then relationships that you've started today, you could have 6 months down the road, a month where you're closing 3, 4, 5, 6 website sales based on the foundation that you've built starting today with the Level Up Challenge. So here's your homework over this week. Your homework over the next week is to build your candidate list, right? Build your candidate list and have at least 30 plus businesses on that list, and simply add 2 per day. Keep your eyes and ears open. When you're driving around town, look at all the different businesses. When you're driving to work, look at the different vehicles that are lettered on their vans or their trucks with their business names. Look at the different signs that are out and about in the community. Look at when you're at the dance school, the gymnasium, the gymnastics school, the swim facility, the YMCA. Who are the other advertisers? What are the banners that are showing up at some of the sporting events? Certainly if you're in a community and you've got children in sports, certainly the t-shirts of every team has a business that is sponsoring that team. Look into your local chambers. Look into the local BNI groups. Look at the local Toastmasters groups. Look at people that are active in the community. Who's on your board of selectmen? Who's in the municipal offices? Who are the building inspectors? Who do you know that works in the restaurant industry, right? So hopefully today gave you a lot of ideas of places that you already know that could be candidates on your list, and simply continue to just add 2 per day. And then start developing a top 10, right? The people that you've got the warmest relationship with, and do some current research, do some basic research. Just go on and Google them, look at their website, and take a look at the look and feel and see how they're doing. If you are a brand new web center owner, maybe you took advantage of our free web center specials. One of the things I'm highly going to encourage you to do is to learn how your web center works. So go to MAWC411.com and click on the Launch tab. On the Launch tab, you're going to scroll down, and the first video that appears is Welcome to Web Centers. It's going to walk you through your web center administration panel, go over all the different menu options, how to locate your customer list, how to add a customer, how to access the calendar, as well as how to change BV placement, and also how to navigate where the tools are within your web center. And then also on the Launch tab, you'll have the top 6 download resources right there for you. Our features and benefits guide, our B2B services catalog, our 15-minute assessment or consultation sheets are there, our marketing manual, our 12-week action plan, and our welcome guide. So great things that you can do this week as homework to go through that information, so that when we launch next week's webinar series and we're going to start tracking sales, you're already ahead of the game. Certainly, we're here to help you. You've got incredible resources. Make sure that you join the Facebook group. It's called the Web Center Owner Support Facebook group. We've got incredible Web Center trainers across the globe. So check your GMTSS to find out when the next upcoming WCT 101 and 201 are in your area. And if it's a little bit of a drive, you might want to schedule some time to drive to the upcoming Web Center training. It's going to put money in your pocket when you get trained by our Web Center owners. They've been proven success stories over the years, and you're going to learn from the best. So thank you for joining us tonight. And of course, make sure that you get on top of your homework. This will be recorded and sent out as well. And we're anxious to see you next week on the Level Up Challenge webinar.